Hi everyone and welcome back, Renee. We've not seen you for a wee while, so it's great to have you back. This is Renee McBride from the One-to-One Diet by Cambridge Weight Plan with Renee and Bruce. So hiya, Renee.
Hello.
Hello. So we've had a few weeks where we've actually spoken about Bruce, but now it's time to hear your story. Let's get your story out there. So can you tell us about any issues that you have had with your weight?
Well, I was thinking about this, and Lisa, I've never actually had an issue until I reached the age of about 27 or 28. And since then, it's felt like an uphill struggle. It's a bit like trying to swim in a sea of treacle, if you kind of imagine what that would feel like. Up until then, I was always a really healthy size 10, a size 12. So that was really slim because I'm 5'9". Whatever I wanted to. And I went everywhere on foot or cycling. So I was very active. When the weight began to go on at that age of 27, 28, I was really perplexed. I had no idea why. And for the next 3 years, it continued to rise. So that by the time I was 31, I was a more rounded 14 to 16, but not too bad. I can remember losing about 8 to 10 pounds before an operation at the age of 31 for varicose veins. But in that same year, at the same time, I also began working out of the home full time. And suddenly there wasn't much time to make my own foods, or walking or cycling. And with working came the ability to buy a car. And therefore there was less exercise. And I would also eat more. And looking back, that was simply due to the fact that others would eat a lunch at work in the office. So I ate with them. Lovely rolls with fillings and lashings of mayo and donuts. And my weight just continued to go up. So I think that by the time I'd been out at work for 4 years, I was about 35 then, I was by then a size 20. And that's really when I feel that it really hit me that I had to do something about it. I was going to the swimming pool at Glen Ogles in Edinburgh and swimming 20 lengths of the pool every morning before I went to the office. But things just got bigger. And by the time I reached 39, I was 16 stone, 10 pounds. I can remember that. And for a lot of years before that, I'd been having gynae problems with hormone imbalance. So to cut a long story short, in 1994, at the age of 39, I went into hospital for a hysterectomy. And the surgeon discovered during the operation that I had polycystic ovaries to the extent that surgery for them was imminent. And so he just removed everything in one fell swoop and told me about it when I came out of anaesthetic. He said that saved me going back in within 3 months in an ambulance for a second surgery. So about 6 months later, I had a deep vein thrombosis, a DVT, and that cut short my time on HRT. So I found myself still at 39, no ovaries, no HRT, basically my endocrine system going straight into the menopause. So my endocrine system was kind of compromised then, to an extent that I now understand that the balance then in my body just wasn't right. And I didn't have the knowledge, enough knowledge to know how to help myself. Certainly didn't feel good about myself. By 2011, my weight had actually ballooned all the way up to 19 stone, 7 pounds. That was really heavy by anyone's standards. And latterly, about 6 years ago, I had a full knee replacement caused by osteoarthritis, which was one of the byproducts of imbalance and all the weight that I had been carrying on my joints. I had lost all my self-confidence. I hated having photographs taken. I would shrink away from social gatherings. Oh, I'd cover it up with being the one that was kind of jokey, but inside it didn't feel very good. And at times during that journey, which I think now lasted the best part of 30 years, that actually sounds brutal to me now. There was times when I was diagnosed as clinically depressed. And I know that was something to do with low mood due to the whole endocrine system in my body, but I didn't understand then. So I constantly compared myself with others. It was not a happy 30-year journey, Lisa. That's so strange. It's very emotional sharing that. Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing it. Again, it does sound harrowing when you do put it like that. 30 years you felt like that. You know what, that's how someone can even, you wouldn't plan to do that in your life, to feel that bad. So how it can actually happen, it's amazing you've got through it. So you have now feeling better, but what diets have you tried over the time to lose some of that weight that you were putting on?
Well, I did try. I tried really hard. I think you name it, I did it. The high fiber diet in 1986. I can remember the years, you know, Lisa. Boiled egg diet in 1989. That was living on boiled eggs, ice cream, and Ritz crackers. That must have been healthy. What? Slimming World. Now, I was a repeat offender with Slimming World. I kept having to go back to try again. So that was 1994, 2011, and 2016. How about the Atkins diet in 2001, which I actually enjoyed, but everybody told me it was bad for me. And I listened to other people and not my body. I didn't trust myself around diets by then or what I was doing. Scottish Slimmers in 1997, and finally the one-to-one diet by Cambridge Weight Plan in 2019.
It's amazing how many different diets there actually is out there, and again how much advice there is from people who do know what they're talking about and people who don't know what they're talking about, and usually it is the ones that don't know what they're talking about that you're taking this information from. So how, with the Cambridge one-to-one, with the one-to-one diet by Cambridge Weight Plan, how did that compare with the other ones that you've tried?
Well, in the past, I had been successful in losing a certain amount of weight for special purposes. So if the motivation was high enough, if it was preparing for surgery in 1986, in 1994, when I prepared for the hysterectomy, or wanting to look good at a wedding in 2001, then success was possible. But I never got below this magic threshold of 14 stone, 7 pounds. It seemed to stop at that. And also the success was very short-lived, because after the event, it would just start to creep up again. I also found it very humiliating to attend the diet groups because of the way they were structured, where you would stand in line to get weighed. So, you know, with the best will in the world, you knew how much a couple of people ahead of you had lost. And if you then stood in the scales and hadn't lost any weight, it was demoralizing. What was even more demoralizing were the classes after the weigh-in, if I stayed for them. So sometimes I didn't in these groups. And I can remember being publicly humiliated at one in particular, where I hadn't lost weight, and I'd been on the introductory 2 weeks. I'd kept a diary, I'd been extremely strict, and I was asked in front of everyone why I hadn't lost weight. And I said, I don't know, I don't understand why. I followed everything that I was told to do, and they said, well, you couldn't have. And I said, well, I did. And they said, well, did you eat too many bananas? And I said, no, I ate 1 banana a week. And then, well, you must have done something wrong. And I remember saying, I'm fine. And I said it in front of everyone. I said, I'm struggling. I have an underactive thyroid. I'm medicated for it. My body is in an early menopausal state. I don't have, and I'm really quite embarrassed. And the answer was, well, you shouldn't be here then, you should be at your doctor's. So I just got up and walked out. I certainly didn't go back. I was very humiliated and demotivated at that point in time. So it was just too much for me to handle. Clearly, I had underlying issues. I did have an underactive thyroid. I didn't have any ovaries. I was being medicated by my GP with the drug thyroxine, which, if your thyroid is not manufacturing enough thyroid chemicals, it does give you the chemicals to make you healthy, to help prevent heart disease, but it doesn't ever redress the balance on the weight that you've already gained. I remember speaking to the GP about 2 years ago and saying, why, if I'm on the right dose, do I not lose weight? And he said, it won't make you lose weight. Unfortunately, it will keep you healthy, but it won't put you back into the previous weight that you were in. So again, I just rather felt at a loss about that. So I think, excuse me, because I'm going to shuffle papers here, because I need a wee bit of a prompt. So the difference was that with the one-to-one diet by Cambridge Weight Plan, I found knowledge that was missing. My consultant knew what he was talking about, and he actually shared the knowledge that he had with me. He was also available for me 7 days a week, usually within an hour or two of messaging him or contacting him. He would be back in touch with me. So I felt that I had support, and it was also private. I wasn't in a class. Okay, I didn't have other people to share my successes with, but on the weeks that I hadn't lost, and there were weeks when I didn't lose, I didn't feel that everyone knew about it. I didn't feel the humiliation. I just felt the support and the companionship of my consultant. The one-to-one diet by Cambridge Weight Plan have a medical panel. And therefore I knew that with all the questions that had been asked of me in the health screening, that information was going down to their central computer. If there was something that needed extra attention, it would be flagged up, that the particular plan that I was given to follow was exactly suited to my medical history and to my body. So I had that confidence in it. They knew what medications I was on. Everything was being done safely. So I really felt cared for. And with the one-to-one diet, I also learned not only what to eat and not what to eat from the consultant and the literature, but also more about how much to eat, the importance of portion size and what a good portion size was, and the importance of drinking enough water while I was doing that. it differs because my consultant is still with me. I'm still on the system. I still have a record as a client. The product range was quite vast. I think there was about 35 products. So it was vast enough and varied enough to cater for my individual likes and dislikes in food. So I could eat my own favourites, both conventional food and the diet food, the complete meal replacement products. And I never got bored, because sometimes on a diet before I would be bored. So I was never bored with it. I think the best bit of all, Lisa, is that in July, the 1st of July last year, I reached my goal weight, which is 13 stone 2. So at 5'9", going all the way down, where I'd been at my heaviest in the past at 19.5 stone, or I was 17 stone when I started the Cambridge diet, to get to 13 stone 2 and remain there all these months without the fluctuation is probably one of the best things. So the diet has retrained me. I can maintain the weight loss. And I think that was important, because I really didn't want to have to put myself through this again. I wanted to do it properly one last time. So that was about 54 pounds of excess body fat gone. And with that gone, I found confidence again. It makes living so much better. So I think, just to round it up if I can, because I'm a bit of a blether, it would be the people, the products, and the plan that's right for you that makes all the difference to give you it all together. It kind of goes together like a recipe for success.
Brilliant. Never heard of that, but that's perfect. A recipe for success for your weight loss. That's definitely what the one-to-one diet by Cambridge weight plan is, isn't it?
It certainly is. And it's varied enough to cater for different people. I've got all these photographs of all the different women behind me today, because there's something for each one of them.
Brilliant.
And men too. And men too.
Oh, of course, and the men too. Well, we heard that one from Bruce. So, and you don't blether as much as what Bruce does. So that's pretty good going.
Oh, that's good. I'm pleased to know. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, Renee, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. I hope some of these stories do resonate with people out there, and hopefully they can get in touch with you if they do want to know any more information, because I hear that you do no obligation consultations. Both yourself and Bruce will do them individually as well. So if one person would prefer to speak to a man, then they can also speak to Bruce, or if they prefer to speak to a female, they can speak to you. And what you were saying about those private weigh-ins and things like that, you hear that so much of people, that's what kills their self-confidence, is because they're being belittled because they haven't been able to lose weight, because their body is acting the way it should do, and sometimes you physically cannot lose weight that week. That's just the way your body's working. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we'll hear from you next time about how you maintain your diet going forward and how you maintain that healthy lifestyle. So again, Renee, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Bye.
Bye-bye.